Why would you buy any other EV over a Tesla? One obvious answer is price. If there is a cheaper EV than Tesla and that's all you can afford, then that's understandable. But the thing is, the equivalent ICE car is likely going to be superior to the EV for the same money. What I'm getting at here is that Tesla didn't become so popular just by making an electric car. No, they had to make a car that was better in every single capacity. A car that is faster, safer, drives and handles better, very highly optioned, lots of technology, and everything else that makes a Tesla, other than just the fact it happens to be electric. Tesla made a better car, which doesn't mean the electric car is simply better than ICE. For example, Volkswagen launched an e-Golf a while back, but I bet it drives worse than the equivalent ICE Golf or a Golf GTI, and was likely more expensive too. Don't get confused with electric and Tesla. There is a huge difference. Tesla made a car that was better in every single way, so people started buying them. But the competition think people are buying Teslas simply because they are electric, and Tesla simply was first to market and saw the opportunity of electric cars before everyone else. This is not the case. Tesla is just better. If Tesla made an ICE car, that would also be better than all the other ICE cars. Tesla make better cars, period. Not because they are electric. Okay, perhaps the original Roadster's main novelty was it was electric, and there were consumers back then that were willing to pay for something just because it was electric, provided it had decent range and looked alright, along with impressive performance. And electric cars, or mainly batteries, were so expensive back then. The electric car cost a fortune. But for Tesla to get more mass market, they had to offer more than simply being electric. Electric was easy enough to copy for the Chevrolet Bolt or the Nissan Leaf. Do you see what I'm saying? Simply just being electric doesn't make it a better car. Being electric means you can make a better car if you design it around electric and the batteries. The fact you can place the battery pack at the bottom of the car for lower weight distribution is a good start. It means the vehicle will handle that much better. And from then on, the rest of the car can be designed around taking advantage of what being electric means, like the instant power and torque that can be used for safer driving for correcting loss of traction. But is that about it? At least for non-tech companies like Legacy Auto? For Tesla, it's just the beginning. As these batteries are not powering a vehicle, these batteries are powering a robot or a computer. And remember, before recently, Tesla was still headquartered in Silicon Valley, the cliché tech area of the world. After that, Tesla becomes much more than simply an EV. However, it's been challenging enough for everyone else to simply get to the level of electrification. They aren't close to building robots yet. They are not tech companies. Not only that, tech moves at exponential rates, and Tesla have been building said technology for some time, and it has evolved and improved significantly since. And Tesla do this with all the best talent in the world. I compare it to Ford or someone if they were going to try and make a better search engine than Google. It's probably almost as arbitrary as them trying to make self-driving robots, but they may not need to. Buying a Tesla in the olden days was like the Wild Wild West. You didn't know if Tesla would possibly go under, or if there'd be anyone around to service or offer spare parts for your Tesla. This was a risk for initial customers. Tesla had very low prices as a result for the Model 3 to help with demand, as it was less of a risk, particularly as they got the price of the Model 3 down to only $35,000. Yes, there was a time when Tesla only charged $35,000 for a standard Model 3, not the Plus version. Tesla had to offer lower prices back then because they didn't have anything close to the demand they had today. They were offering tremendous value, and all these cars have also been updated with all the latest software features through over-the-air updates too, so they are even a more valuable product today than they were back then. There was the lack of charging infrastructure too. For a lot of consumers, it was simply impractical to buy a Tesla if they planned on doing long-distance travel, not to mention range anxiety. An electric car and Tesla was simply far less convenient than what it is today. Charging also took a lot longer back then too. And again, charging infrastructure and speed will improve even more soon. Tesla's product has improved dramatically, even just in the last few years. Not just the car itself, but the accompanying infrastructure and logistics, even including service centers. My point here is now that we have legacy autos electrifying their same offerings with nothing special, nothing extra, nothing to do with all the latest technology and advances that electrification offers. Sure, some of the legacy EVs might have a slightly bigger screen than before, Still not as big as a Tesla though, and nothing overly exciting on them. My daughter hangs out in my Tesla just for the screen. Do any of your children hang out and play in your non-Tesla cars? And let's not forget that other major competitive advantage Tesla has over the competition, the supercharger network. And I was saying before how much that has improved for Tesla owners, but if you have an electric vehicle that is not a Tesla, then there's a lot of added inconvenience. Although this can be easily remedied as Tesla are opening up their charging stations to all EVs. The point is that the other EVs are not better in every conceivable way than their ICE alternatives. Back to the initial question then. Why would someone buy an electric legacy auto? Tesla has made electric vehicles popular, but they haven't made legacy autos make their electric cars much better than their ICE cars, and especially not for the same money. And even if the price was at parity, then legacy lose money on their EVs anyway. So the price is absolutely arbitrary and moot until they can make a profit. Right, so have legacy actually made their EVs better than their ICE cars? Is there a reason to buy an EV because it is actually better than their ICE cars? Well, that's the question. If not, then I think there'll still be plenty of consumers that would rather have a lower cost BMW 3 Series instead of a BMW i4, which costs a lot more. So why are people buying these legacy EVs? Is it just solely that they want to go electric? That must be the reason. There is a movement for EVs that is showing some consumers are willing to pay extra for what is potentially an arguably inferior product. And again, these aren't even priced properly still, as they lose money. And legacy autos haven't really shown any path to profitability with their EVs, just hoping that if they build their batteries with a partner, that they can get the price of batteries down to $100 a kilowatt hour. Yeah, right, with nickel and cobalt in their batteries? Doesn't sound too likely. Tesla are still paying about 50% more than that with Panasonic at Giga Nevada. But is it a movement, or is it just a novelty having an electric car? Well, I think before the Model 3 took off, people were very unaware as to even what an electric car was, and didn't understand how a Tesla just doesn't require any fuel. I think a lot of consumers have now got their heads around the fact that the car can be charged at home, and understand the convenience and cost savings. Although I doubt many of them are close to understanding that these cars can drive themselves. Whenever I demonstrate my car driving itself around bends, people are impressed and surprised and didn't realize this was possible, and that was just with autopilot. But more consumers now understand electric. I don't think most consumers will buy electric for the environment. It was likely the reason some people did go electric, but I don't think it will be what moves the vast majority to make the transition. All the environmentalists have likely already bought their Nissan Leafs years ago. What are the benefits of a legacy EV then, compared to their ICE? Well, they don't appear to be any quicker than the ICE equivalent for the money. The consumer will need to spend more money and essentially receive less of a car in many areas. What are legacy autos really selling then? Well, not having to go to the gas station is one thing, and I love that. Just the thought of having to go and do that makes me glad I have electric. There's the smell of gasoline. These days, now people rarely smoke. When you smell a cigarette, it seems a lot more offensive and noticeable than it did in the olden days, when people used to even smoke on planes. I'm noticing something similar with internal combustion now and how much more they smell since I've gone all electric. Then there is the noise. Okay, it's really satisfying hearing a nice V8 roar when you put your foot down, but the vast majority of drivers do not have a V8, and when they put their foot down, the noise is not so impressive. They're very noisy, and noise is primitive. It's also wasted energy. And I suppose also the fact that the consumer feels like they're buying into the future. That's about it though. None of the legacy autos are really making the most of the car being electric. Hyundai has an adapter you can put in the charging socket to allow you to plug regular items in, and the F-150 Lightning has actual sockets too, which you can even run your house from, although the Cybertruck also offers that. Is this all legacy autos can offer with their EVs? Yes, it would appear that way, but I think this is still what the consumer wants. It doesn't have to be a Tesla, it just happens that Tesla is so much better at everything than legacy autos and everyone else. So it would make sense as a consumer to buy a Tesla, as it wins in every single comparable feature. Unless the consumer simply cannot afford a Tesla, then they can seek cheaper electric alternatives. Now consumers want electric. The movement is here, so much so that they're willing to pay more when compared to the equivalent cost of an ICE vehicle. And sure, the market is more educated now, and they understand that although the initial cost might be higher, like for like, the running cost does somewhat offset that too. Therefore, they can justify the electric price, and they may be brand loyal, whether it's an electric BMW or Mercedes they want, or even a Toyota. A lot of consumers are willing to stick to the brand they love and trust, and as a result, we're seeing just about all electric cars sell out, or if not, they're priced to the market with an additional $10,000 to $20,000 at the dealerships. Although, I kid you not, some dealers are supposedly asking an additional $100,000 for Mercedes EQS. But this is just the EV movement. Electrifying the car is about all the consumer has gotten their head around yet. Next will come the AV movement, the autonomous vehicles, when people realize, oh, it's not just electric they want, but self-driving too. And all the non-Tesla EVs they're buying, well, they aren't likely to be compatible with self-driving in the future. Some of these legacy auto EVs may have just been compliance cars, or cars to show their shareholders what they're capable of, that they can actually make nice-looking EVs as well, rather than basic ones just to please a few customers. Compare the BMW i3 with the BMW i4. The auto execs can show their shareholders that Tesla isn't anything special. Look, we can make them too. And ours even have cooler headlights, which shows we really know what we're doing when it comes to electrification. And because of this, legacy autos are now discovering that their customers really want electric too. Enough of them are remaining brand loyal even, but it has to be electric. And now every legacy auto company is scrambling and struggling to make electric vehicles, mainly due to such short battery supply. The battery supply creates a further dilemma. As they have limited battery supply, it means they will only be able to make a limited amount of vehicles. If you're not going to make or sell that many of one model, then you're also likely going to invest relatively less in the way of R&D and everything else associated with a new car, as it would be such a waste of money. It would be better to just make a few cars and sell them at a loss, so they at least appear to be impressive. The loss is minor on the EVs they sell relative to the income from the ICE vehicles. In other words, legacy autos are making very expensive EVs and just selling them at a loss. But the need to demonstrate to the shareholder this is something they are capable of and there is a market for their EVs. And they have to start as soon as possible too. Even despite how popular these EVs are, they can't make enough. Alright, you get the idea. We've been through the legacy auto dilemma many times before. The other question is though, do the next generation even want legacy autos? Or are they only going to want Teslas, which would appear to be their car of choice? Children at my kids' school seem to get very excited when I pull up in the Tesla. Okay, they possibly might be more impressed with a Ferrari, but that's 5 times the price. For an equivalent sedan at the same price, I don't think any of them would show any interest at all. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.